Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Thursday, June the 26th, 2025. And big night of boxing last night. It was good. Free boxing, you can't beat that. And yes, okay, there was a couple of early blowouts, but I think overall, not a bad night of fights. The two main events were okay. Again, remember, it's free. So we'll get onto that in a second, but on this day, just a couple of things today. Just 1976, Carlos Monzon, the great middleweight champion, probably considered by a lot of people to be the greatest middleweight of all time. Well, he defended that 160-pound title by defeating Rodrigo Valdez by unanimous 15-round decision. Doesn't actually say where that was. Neil's stuck on a bin there. And in 2001, close to home this one, the legend Costa Tszyu defended his WBC 140-pound title or super lightweight title with a unanimous decision over Oktay Urkel. I don't really remember that fight, if I'm being honest. 2001, Oktay Urkel, unanimous decision. Okay. Must have been asleep at the wheel around that time. I don't remember that fight. Anyway, so one more, 2021, just a quick one. Julio Cesar Martinez retained the WBC flyweight championship against fellow Mexican Joel Cordova with a 6th-round knockout. Now, before we get on to last night's fights, I'm not sure whether you've seen this, but Dana Coolwell has been suspended for 18 months in the States for a positive drug test from his April 5th loss. Now, he got beaten by Albert Gonzalez in his last fight. I'm just trying to see the name, oxymethylone. Now, I don't know what the hell oxymethylone is, but it was detected in his post-fight urinalysis. So it was an 8-round fight. I was actually on the Richard Torres card. So I'm not quite sure. I haven't seen anything about it back here in Australia on any of the sites, and actually not a lot of other sites at all. This is the only one. This is on Boxing Scene. Actually, I saw it yesterday. But he's had his last, couple of fights over there. But that is the latest. Yeah, he's been suspended for 18 months only in the States. So he's obviously going to be free to come back to Australia and fight. But that is not good news. Not good news at all that an Aussie fighter has been found to have performance enhancing or illegal drugs or whatever the hell they are, whatever the hell it was, it does. But yeah, suspended for 18 months. So I'm sure more will be said about that and more info to come, but I'll keep you in the loop. All right, last night's fights. As I said, not a bad night of fights. I mean, it was over by 10 o'clock. Now, this is exactly what it should be on a Wednesday night during the week, over by 10:30. So we've got probably Kira Rustin and who else was it? Callum Peters to thank for that. We'll just get Neil off the road here as the truck's coming. He just tends to wander. I do let him sort of wander by himself around the back streets because he doesn't really go far. He always sort of stays at my feet, but just sometimes he will just get a little bit brave and decides to cross the road by himself without asking me. He's got his lead there, he's still on, but I'll just pick it up when I need to if the other dogs are coming or whatever. But he's normally pretty good, but he just has no road sense whatsoever. All right, so I don't think all the fights were telecast, of course. So Quinton Smith knocked out Lafia Rubin in the first round. Thomas Warrior defeated Ricky Sandrell. These are just the prelim fights by 4-round decision. Caden Rosso defeated Aaron Stahl by 6-round decision. And then we got into the main fight. So first of all, we had Vegas Larfield with a unanimous, was it unanimous? I think it was, yeah. Or was it? Yeah, I think it was. 6-round decision at featherweight over Brian Cabrillos. Now, Cabrillos was actually undefeated at 7-0-1. Vegas Larfield is 12-1. Look, I thought it was a solid performance from Vegas. Cabrillos really started fast and went after him, and I thought Vegas showed a lot of composure early. I think, sort of the middle rounds as he started to get into his groove, and Cabrillo sort of slowed down a little bit. These tough Filipinos, they're really hard to fight. They really are. And I thought as the fight sort of went on, Vegas sort of had a little bit of trouble with the work rate of Cabrillos. That's his name, isn't it? Cabrillos? Yeah. And the pace he was setting and the pressure he was putting on, Vegas did struggle a little bit with that. Had the blood nose later in the fight. I thought he really handled the pressure well. Look, just in my opinion, what is he now? 13-1. Look, I still think he's a long, long way off, but I've got a feeling that Benny Harrington and the team know that, and they'll just guide him along. He had that upset loss, was it a year or so ago, or two, whatever it was, against Albert Nolan, and I think he's responded in the right way. But as I said, I think he's still got a way to go before I think they step him up. But I liked his composure under pressure. He did look like he dropped Cabrillo, I suppose, in the 6th round and actually had him almost ready to go. And I thought his maturity, you can see he's growing. Still only a young fighter, but yeah, I think it was a workmanlike performance. Did what he had to do. A little bit, not worried, but just, as I said, like you can just see that he needs rounds, he needs quality of opponents. And I think Cabrillos was a really good test at this stage of his career. Tested him, made him dig down, made him fight, made him show a little bit of ticker, and I thought Vegas actually come through with flying colours. And I won't say it was a stellar performance, but at this stage of his career, it was a good performance and the performance that he needed. That's exactly the type of opponent that he needed. A good, tough, strong guy who was walking forward. Not an easy kill. I don't see the benefit at all, unless you're having your first 2 or 3 fights, of having easy kills. I just don't get it. I understand in the first, as I said, the first 2 or 3 fights when you're trying to get an explosive knockout and get people talking about you and just to get the confidence up. But Vegas has had, now 14 fights, so now's the time. And yeah, I really think Cabrillos was a great opponent for him, and again came through with flying colours. And let's hope he starts to step it up now and can get some good wins. And who knows what can happen for Vegas Larfield. A good, marketable young fighter. So let's hope he continues on with that. Some good fights, probably at featherweight too, or even super featherweight. I think he's ranked at both. The likes of, I think they were talking about maybe Tyler Blizzard or Rocky Ogden or Dana Coolwell. I'm not quite sure he's ready for maybe Blizzard and Coolwell, but maybe Rocky Ogden might be a nice all-action fight between the two of them. So we'll see what happens there, but a good performance from Vegas Larfield, and I'm sure he'll grow. Next we went to Kira Rustin with a 2nd-round knockout of Kartik Kumar. Now, Kumar actually showed a bit in the first round. I think he was, from all accounts, a very, very good amateur. He'd had 9 fights for 9 wins, 8 knockouts. So in the first round, he's an Indian fighter. Because normally when they come out from India, I must admit I don't like to stereotype, but I thought, India, this is not going to be good. Kira Rustin, very, very good fighter and can punch. What was he? So he's gone to 7-0. Kumar's dropped to 9-1. But the first round, I thought Kumar actually showed a bit, and I thought he could have even won the first round. Good stiff jab, good technique. But what good fighters do, like Rustin, is be patient and not get too excited about maybe losing the first round and maybe the opponent showing a bit. He stuck to his guns, he was composed, looked for his shots. And I think he said after the fight, he doesn't necessarily go or train to knock people out. He goes out there to go the distance, and if the knockouts come, they come. And I thought he was extremely patient. I thought the corner was really good as well. Gareth Williams, no panic in the corner. I mean, it was only a 6-round fight, so you obviously can't let too many rounds get away. But I thought Gareth was really calm in the corner. Just look, mate, stick to the plan, stick to what we've trained for. And you could sort of see that Kira was very relaxed and went out there in the next round and got his opportunity. And just a beautiful right hand. When he actually first landed it, I thought, geez, come on, what was that? We haven't seen this guy, say enough is enough already, have we? But that right hand was a really well-timed shot right on the temple, and down he went. And look, he did try to get up, Kumar. It showed a lot of heart, but when your legs are gone, it's very hard to get them back. And he was stopped. So yeah, look, I'd like to see Kumar maybe back again. There's probably some other light heavyweights he could probably come out and fight and give a pretty good fight too. But Kira Rustin with as I said, a really nice second round stoppage and just humming away nicely at the moment. And there is talk that maybe he could step up. I think they were talking about maybe fighting Callum Peters at one stage, but obviously the weight is a lot different at the moment. So, but that would be a good fight. Rustin, look, and I just will say, look, he's limited in certain ways, but I think at the moment they're getting everything out of him at this stage of his career, and they're just progressing him and improving things fight by fight. And I think as he gets better and more experienced, I think you're going to see a pretty good fighter in Kira Rustin, but a good second round knockout by him. And then we went to Callum Peters. Well, I think the less said about this fight, the better. I'm not being derogatory or anything like that. Not Callum Peters' fault, not really No Limit's fault. They wanted to get him a fight. He had 2 pullouts. I think his last one was on Monday. So I think No Limit actually did a really good job of actually finding someone. They got a local kickboxer or Muay Thai, whatever he was. Come here, man. And yes, look, it didn't end well. Come here, mate. Which way are you going? Not walking that way. That's the wrong way. And look, when they faced off at the weigh-in, I thought, geez, this guy looks in pretty good nick. And obviously he's been training for a fight. And the MMA guys don't care. This is what I love about them. They don't care. It's just like, oh, is a fight available? Who is it? Yeah, whatever. Sign me up. What am I getting paid? What are the rounds? When is it? Oh, 2 days' time? Okay, whatever. Let's go. They have a different mentality to boxers. They really do. Now, if that was a boxer, it would have been, oh, well, geez, what about this and what about that and what about the record and, you know, oh, geez, how's this going to look with my social media followers? Not all boxers are like that, by the way, but the MMA guys, they don't care. This is why I used to love dealing with them when I was a promoter. You'd bring them up on short notice and they'd always save you. They always would. They'd yep, no drama. You get them on a plane with a few days' notice or a week's notice, whatever, and they'd be there. And okay, a lot of them weren't highly skilled, but they were tough and hard and weren't worried about records and all this bullshit that boxers are. And when I saw him, I thought, well, maybe he could be in for a fight here, Callum Peters. At no stage did I thought he might actually lose the fight, but I thought this guy looks okay, obviously backs himself, and I thought he might give Callum Peters at least, you know, a few rounds of work. But as soon as the bell rang, I had to put my hands over my eyes, if I'm being honest. I was like, oh my God, this is not going to be good. And this is 10 seconds in, by the way. As soon as they went out and faced off, look, it is what it is. He got dropped 3 times, or was it twice? 3 times by just a far superior and experienced fighter in Callum Peters. There's no shame in it. I certainly don't have any, I didn't have a lot of respect in the first place. I suppose I didn't know the guy, but he's gained a lot in my books. I'm talking about here, by the way, Luca Lanigan. So he was making his debut. Callum Peters goes to 3-0, 3 first-round knockouts. No one's really tested him, but as I said, I've certainly, not lost anything for Luca Lanigan. He got in there, local guy too, so it would have saved him a lot of travelling costs and everything. And I hope they paid him accordingly. You know, all the money they saved on airfares and accommodation and all the other stuff that they would have had to pay to a fighter from, you know, coming in from overseas or interstate, whatever. I hope they paid him, you know, a couple of grand extra. I really do, just for the sake he got in there. And I won't say he saved the show, but without it, you know, Callum Peters wouldn't have got in there and got a fight. Now, look, at the end of the day, like some of the other fights we've seen recently, Kira Rustin probably could have got a better workout, doing some pads out the back, but that's not the point. They want to keep him active. They didn't give up getting him a fight, so good on him. But not a great result for Luca Lanigan, but he'll be back. I'm sure he'll get back into the ring and octagon or wherever it is he fights in, and he'll be fine. And Callum Peters, well, look, I know he's had 3 really easy first-round knockouts at the moment, but I tell you what, there's almost an argument that he's our best middleweight in Australia at the moment. Overall. Now, that's not going to make the likes of Michael Zarafa very happy, but Matteo Tapia is probably definitely, take him out of the equation. Is he more super middleweight, whatever. But Callum Peters, very, very good prospect. I think he's going to go to the Commonwealth Games as well, World Championships. So, yeah, he's a good kid, good fighter. And I love the way you can just tell he loves to fight. And you can always tell that by the guys that get in there and they're just super relaxed, they're smiling. Sometimes you see a fake smile, by the way, but with him you can just tell he loves the whole experience, loves getting in the ring, loves punching on. Now that might change once he comes up against guys like Michael Zarafa and Matteo Tapia, that sort of does happen, because his level of opposition has been very, very limited so far. But I like his style. I like his style. And he's got a lot to work on, don't get me wrong. Very, very good amateur, but of course, being a good amateur doesn't make you a good pro, but he's just made for the pros. He really is. You can just tell, even when I was watching him as an amateur at the games, you could just see this guy is just a pro. He's destined to be a pro fighter. So looking forward to seeing how he transitions to the paid ranks once he's officially finished with the amateurs. And No Limit have got a very, very good young star to build on and bank on. So more to come from Callum Peters. All right, so the main or the co-main event, Liam Wilson and Ayrton Jiminez. Now, a little bit of controversy about this. A lot of people online thinking that Jiminez actually won the fight. I probably don't agree. I thought that it was close. I had it 96-94. Going into the last round, I had it 5 rounds to 4 for Liam Wilson, but I thought he just pulled it out in that last round to avoid a draw. And I was surprised online to see, that a lot of people saying that Jiminez was robbed. Look, the thing is, when you're fighting in a foreign country against the house fighter, you can't box like Jiminez did and probably expect to win a close fight. If it was one-sided and he was really winning the rounds clearly, okay, that's different. But there was a lot of close rounds, a lot of rounds that could have gone either way, a lot of rounds just hard to score because of the style of the fight. You had Liam Wilson cutting off the ring, and how big did he look compared to Jiminez, by the way? He was huge. By the time they stepped in the ring, a little bit different at the weigh-in, but once they were in the ring, the first thing was, holy shit, Liam Wilson looks bloody 3 divisions heavier. But Jiminez, look, he boxed well. The thing I will say about Jiminez is he didn't start well. I think he started too negatively, and I don't blame him. Liam Wilson's fought for the world title twice, and obviously the home fighter, and he can punch. So I can see why Jiminez was a little bit reluctant early, but I just think those first 3 or 4 rounds, he was way too cautious. Look, and I did say this was probably going to be the harder fight out of the 2 co-mains. I thought Jiminez, he moves well. Good jab, and gave Liam Wilson some problems, but in a close fight, you're always going to go for the home fighter. The scorecards I didn't agree with. It was 98-92. I don't know how it was 8 rounds to 2. The other one was 7-3. The other one was 6-4, which is the way I had it. But good performance from Jiminez. But as I said, I just don't think he come out of the gates well enough, and I think that Liam Wilson, I had him after 7. I had it 5 rounds to 2. I gave Jiminez rounds 3 and 5. And it was good to see, I think, the commentary, they actually did a really good job, and Michael Zarafa actually called the fight really well. He was saying, well, it looks like Wilson's winning, but don't be surprised if Jiminez is winning some rounds. Well, ended up, it was sort of mixed, but I agree with what Michael was saying. And good on Ben Damon too. He was sort of going to Michael a lot for his feedback. He could obviously see the fight a little bit better, but I just thought that, 5 rounds to 2. I gave Jiminez rounds 8 and 9. I thought, geez, we could be in for a draw here. I thought, though, even if I did score at a draw, that Liam Wilson would still win a close decision. And it wasn't close in the end, was it? It was pretty unanimous and one-sided by a couple of them. But look, one thing I will say, I was happy that Liam Wilson, it wasn't a war. That was probably the first thing I was happy about, is because he's been in so many hard fights over the journey. It was good to see him actually dictate the fight from the centre of the ring. He was not overly effective in cutting off the ring. That's probably the only thing I would probably criticise him on. Probably another thing I would criticise him on as well is that he tends to, he's nearly dragging me through the bushes here. He tends to pull out and go backwards in a straight line, which opens him up for counters as he's finished punching. He sort of goes in and then pulls out with his chin up in the air and wears straight shots mainly most of the time. So that's probably something they can work on. But I think I was impressed by the fact that He was patient throughout. He didn't get excited with the last round when he threw him to the canvas. I was actually surprised he didn't maybe get a point taken off. I know it was only a throw to the canvas, but I remember when he did, I thought, geez, I hope he doesn't take a point here because this could almost decide the fight. But I was impressed by his patience this time. I mean, against Valdez especially, he did well early and then sort of almost threw that fight away by just getting into a dog fight. So I was impressed that he did what he had to do and stuck to whatever game plan they had. But as I said, the only probably criticism is his lack of ability to cut the ring off and pulling out with his chin up in the air. But I thought he did enough. I had it 6 rounds to 4. But Jiminez, good young fighter. But when you fight like that in someone's home country and it's close, you're not going to win. So a good performance from Liam. And I just get the impression too, this is just an in-between fight. It really didn't have a lot of relevance, even though Jiminez was ranked number 14 by the WBO. You could just see that Liam, a little bit like some of the other fighters out there, Connor Wallace at the moment as well, just sort of treading water a little bit, waiting for their opportunity. And hopefully that opportunity comes a little bit later in the year for Liam Wilson. On to the main event, and what a performance from Liam Paro. Really solid performance, very, very impressive. Just the performance you really wanted to see from a fighter coming off losing his world title. I thought Navarro, coming from the Garcia stable, was very, very well schooled. But I think if you looked at my preview, I did say that for me, just looked a little slow with his hands and feet, pretty one-dimensional. I just think he was custom-made for Liam Paro to have a really good performance, and that's the way it turned out. I thought that Liam Paro, he was patient at the start. Come here, man. He was patient, he was methodical, he was clinical, whatever or however you want to describe it, and just a sensational performance. He's a very, very good fighter, is Liam Paro, and 100% world level. And that was the kind of performance that a fighter of that caliber should be putting on. Just really winning every round, really putting him to the sword, really getting him out of there when he had the opportunity, and he did. And really, geez, he busted him up, didn't he? I will say, though, the first cut on his head in the first round, where it was like, I think a lot of people thought it might be over. I wasn't too stressed about it because you could just sort of see where it was. And just the amount of blood. It was sort of semi-bad, but not overly bad, if that makes sense. But I was surprised that they called it a punch. Now, let me assure you, a punch doesn't normally open that type of cut in that particular area. It was right in the middle of his head. They were coming together a little bit early, just with the style Southpaw versus Orthodox. And I remember even a couple of times thinking, geez, the heads are getting pretty close together as they come in. That was from a headbutt, no doubt. They didn't show the replay. I'm not sure they even looked for it, to be honest, because the referee ruled it a punch. But normally that type of cut in that area, that is from a headbutt, an accidental headbutt, coming together right smack in the middle of the head. You don't necessarily, when you're fighting, get hit hard enough right in the center of your head to open a cut. That is always by a headbutt. But anyway, it didn't matter in the end, and he busted him up as the fight went on. And it wasn't, what I liked about it wasn't he had him hurt. He put him down with a beautiful, was it a left hook? I can't remember. What was it? I think it was a left hook from a southpaw stance. I think it was. I haven't watched the replay. I think that's right from memory. Hope I'm right. But just a beautiful shot, just put him down. But what I loved about it afterwards is he didn't, and I know it was stopped in the corner, by the way, but he didn't rush. He didn't go wild and just throw punches from everywhere where you see a lot of fighters. He just stuck to what he'd done through the fight. The dog over there eyeing us off. And just clinically put him away. And then, of course, in the corner, he went back to his corner, and I think they put the towel on his nose, but it was a bad cut on his nose. Beautiful, whatever it was. I'm pretty sure it was a punch that opened that one up, no doubt. I think it might have been that left hook, but he was gone. He was no good, and they stopped the fight. So really, really good performance. And geez, he was just busted up, wasn't he? But yeah, for Liam Paro, the door opens to so many big opportunities for him now, and he deserves it. I'm sure he will get a world title shot. I wouldn't be surprised if the rematch with Hitchens occurs. I think the IBF will probably put him right back at number 1 now that he's finished with George. This is Hitchens I'm talking about. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another crack at Hitchens. I doubt that Matthias, if he beats Puelas, is going to defend against him straight away. There has been talk that maybe Teofimo Lopez might be in the equation as well. But either way, he's going to get some big opportunities, and well-deserved, because he's an elite world-class fighter. He's not a flash in the pan. He hasn't just won the belt and you'll never be at that level again. He's going to get some big fights, and so he should. Very, very balanced, composed. He can punch, he can box. He's patient. Just very, very impressive all around is Liam Paro, and I can't wait to see what's next for him. One thing I will say though, the talk of Liam fighting George Kambosos, as much as I love George, I must admit, after seeing last night, I don't want to see that fight. I think that would turn out pretty much the same way, if I'm being honest. I think Liam Paro would, just let me take that off there, buddy. And I don't like to say that about one Aussie fighter fighting another, but I've just got the impression that what you saw last night would be probably what would happen if he fought George Kambosos as well. It's a similar type of fight, but we'll see what happens there. Let's look, maybe George, it's a good payday for him, or maybe he just says, look, I don't need that at this stage of my career. I don't know. But again, very, very impressive from Liam Paro. Well, guys, that's going to do it for today. Give me your feedback on the fight, on the show, the performances of all the fighters, and we can chat about it. So probably next Monday on Talking Boxing, we'll cover it as well. So guys, have a great Thursday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.